Okay, and here is going to be the video for the board installation, chip, and basically the overall loading of the box. So, alright, so we're going to go ahead and get this motherboard put in here. We've already got our standoffs in here, you can see, and we've already got our rear I.O. cover already put in. So we're just going to go ahead and get this guy in here. So with this, normally you'll see me like pick these up from the AM4 slot cover. Well, with a Threadripper board, there's nothing really to hold on to. So double check. I'm going to make sure there's nothing here. So what I'm doing is I'm actually kind of picking it up from the heatsink right here, and these four DIMM slots right here. So, okay, and we're in and we're lined up, and everything looks great. All right, good. So, all right, and we'll get some screws in this thing. Okay, so I had a look, and this actually uses a coarse thread standoff, so you want to make sure you use the screws that come with it that are kind of these funky little coarse threaded screws. Kind of look like almost like hard drive screws, but they're not. They're actually the wrong size. So, and for this particular board, you're gonna need 10 of them. So, 1, 5, 6. Okay. And a big long screwdriver. Alright. So we'll probably edit this for time, and we'll be right back. Okay, so one thing I did notice with this particular case and this board. So this board does not uses the standard ATX layout, so it does not use the standoff location all the way up by the I.O. panel. It actually uses it on the one that's slightly back further. So this case has the option for more like a traditional EEB. Oops. Now, this board does have this micro switch over here. It is for the extreme OC mode. So it wants to be off. That disables the extreme OC mode, so it's in normal mode by default. If you turn that off, and then what it does is basically puts it in LN2 mode. So we don't need that. So, all right, so we got our board in. So the biggest thing about this particular board, 8 SATA ports, USB 3 here, USB 3 here, so we have 2 sets of headers on it, 4 PCI Express 16 slots, slot 1 and slot 2, 3, 4 are 16, slot 2 and slot 5 are PCI Express 8. Only if you go to an Epic will you actually get full 16 slots on each one. So, okay. All right, so there is that. Oh, and then we got three M.2 slots that are full Gen 3 4-lane compatible that are direct to the CPU, if I remember correctly. The SATA and the USB all run off the chipset. This particular machine, depending on which chip you load into it, is 256 gigs capable. Let's see. You have a 24-pin power connector, and you have an 8-pin and a 4-pin. You do have to hook both of those up because they run different things. So this right here, this is the EPS power connector for the PCI Express. You do not have to hook this up. It is optional. Now, but you do have to hook it up if you want to supply power to any expansion cards. So, very similar to the Epic board that we used in the Epic build. Basically the same design idea. This one does have a mini SAS header on it. That mini SAS header is not a standard SAS header. It is for U.2 drives. So super high speed U.2 SSDs. If you use this, it disables M.2 number 1 right here. So you cannot use this guy and this guy at the same time. It's one or the other. But U.2 SSDs are very expensive, so you better have a very specific use case for using one. So, okay, so let's go ahead and get our chip put in. I love how they come in this cool little case, as it were. So that's kind of cool. So we're going to set that there. We're going to get our Threadripper screwdriver out, as it were. Now, the 2000 series Threadrippers come with a water block adapter for like an NZXT style water block. They say it works fairly well. If it were me and I was going to liquid cool a Threadripper, honestly, I would probably go with an EK water block and probably go full open loop on it. But that's me. So, alright, so we're going to take this guy out. Okay, so there's that. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get our chip out here. It's kind of a cool case. I like that. So, alright. Now, this guy, we'll double check and we'll make sure that this is in our carrier correctly. It should be, because this is a retail chip, so it came in the fancy retail packaging. So there's all of our lovely pins. So we're going to go ahead and pop this guy open. I'm going to slide this guy out. And we're going to double check our placement, our alignment pins. Now there is an alignment pin. There's 2 alignment pins here, 2 up here, 1 here, and 1 here. So as I'm looking at it like this, when I flip the carrier over, everything should light up, which it does. So, grab the tab here, and we just slide it right in here like this. Push it down right here, because it will slide in and kind of stop. There's a little bit of a lock. So you want to push it, and it's all the way in. Then you can go ahead, push the 2 blue tabs down, and then that will actually lock the carrier retainer down. Then you can go ahead and put this guy down. When you put the outer locking mechanism down, the IHS should sit perfectly inside the screw without any issues. And make sure you follow the directions. So you have 1, 2, and 3. It's 1, 2, 3 to close it. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 to open it. Do not go in any other direction because you will possibly damage the pins. And then this is a torque wrench, so it is set to specification. So with number 2 and 3, sometimes you kind of have to press down a little bit on the screwdriver to get it started. Otherwise it'll just sit here and it'll just kind of free spin. That time it started on its own. Okay, so I like to go back through, make sure we're all torqued down. All right, there's the chip. Okay, we'll clean up this little mess here and we'll keep on going. Okay, so before we go too much further, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get our fans plugged in here. So we've got this fan header here. So we've got chassis fan 1, CPU with optional pump. Let's see, we've also got CPU fan 1 is up here on top, and that's another chassis fan back here. So this one is actually, let's see, how do I want to do this? I think we have enough fan headers. So, yeah, so we're going to do it this way. Okay, so our front fan is going to go down here, like so. And actually, I'm going to run it through here for a cleaner look. There. That's pretty ideal if I do say so myself. And alright, so one thing I am noticing is these rubber gaskets through here. They're cool looking and they do function very well. Not totally necessary because the cutouts are ground, so that the way they're not sharp. So, but yeah, so the gasket does like to kind of pop off fairly easily. So. Okay, so that was connected. We're going to take this guy and let's see. So we got that one, that one, that one. Yeah. So if we do that. Okay, so we'll take this guy and we'll put it there. So then that way, when we put our graphics card in, we'll actually just kind of tuck this right there like that. And it'll be just fine. It won't be in the way of our fan, and it'll just sit above our video card. Alright, and then we're going to take our top fan up here, and we're going to plug it in this guy up here. Hey, I did a blind by feel and perfectly fine. All right, awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and we got to get the RAM in there first. Because once we get the cooler in there, we won't have access to the RAM. So, all right. Now this board populates differently than the Epic. So we actually do A2, B2, C2, and D2 on our slots here. So we've got our first slot. So we're going to do this guy, and that guy, and that guy. Remember, the reason why we're using... Well, get back here. I'm pulling a Linus here. Of course, I'm working on the floor. I can't drop anything very far. But the reason why we're using just Aegis memory and we're not G.skill and we're not using like Trident or anything like that is because of the fact that we don't have the clearance under the cooler to run Trident. So yeah, so we got to run low profile, kind of as it were, even though this isn't really true low profile memory. It's just, it doesn't have big old heat spreaders on it. Now, one nice thing about this case and this board is we've got full coverage on the standoffs all the way to the outside. So we don't, when we plug stuff in, we don't really have to worry about bracing the board or anything like we do on a super ultra budget build. So, which is kind of nice. We don't have overhanging board parts and everything. Alright, double check, make sure that's nice and tight. Okay, now a fun one. Get this big old box over here. And I love doing this on the box, or on the floor. It's so much fun. Not. Now this particular time, if you watched our original Arctic Freezer TR 50 video, we didn't have the A-RGB controller to be able to light up the RGB on the cooler itself. So this time I was smart because I knew we were going to use the same board. I got one with the A-RGB controller in it, and it comes in this nice little box. So, but that is our Arctic A-RGB controller. So we're actually not going to put it in this one. We'll actually go back, I'll film a separate video, and we'll put it in the my Threadripper machine, because this one, because of the way the fan and the mesh and everything sits there, it's not really going to be visible. So, and honestly, my clients are not going to care. It's an NVR, it's not a game rig, so this is in an office for all the time, and there's nobody in there to really gawk at it, except for maybe a few hours out of the day, so not a big deal. Okay, there she is, one big massive hunk of cheese grater. So that's our standoffs, or our mounting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get the mounting put in first. And they give us a little tiny packet of MX4. Well, that's not going to cover that IHS. So Arctic, yeah, you need like 2 or 3 of these for a TR4. Just saying. At least 2. 2, you could probably get away with it. Unless you were doing a 3000 series Threadripper or even a 5000 series Threadripper, which will be out here pretty soon probably. Yeah, that's just not adequate. So instead, I'm going to grab my syringe out of MX4. Okay, so, oh, I gotta take a look here. That's right. Alright, so because of the way this one works, we're actually going to do a big fat strip. Right down the middle like that. So the way this sits. So with the Arctic TR4 50, this is a direct to heat pipe mounting. So there is no cold plate. So wide side, narrow side. Okay. Now, if you want to see a more detailed installation of this, go look at our video on it from our previous build. Because we will probably jump ahead here for time. One thing I don't particularly care for about this particular design is the center fan and the way it mounts in here. I think Arctic could have come up with something better, but it is what it is. Okay, and it's in. So we still got, and on this case we've got tons of clearance. Let's check clearance on our fan real quick. May have to go away. Maybe. Else if I try to put this in here right. Alright. Oh, that's right, because this is recessed. Hey, it clears. That's awesome. Alright, cool. Alright, so we got plenty of clearance. On the other one, the cooler actually sits right up against the door, so, or the side panel. So perfect. Good deal. Yeah, plenty of clearance. It looks so small in this giant case. Okay, we'll go ahead and put our video card in. This is all thumb screws, but of course, like I said, none of them are hand tight. Whoops, that's right. This is a too high card. Let's try this again. Okay. I like the look of thumb screws, but depending on how well they, how good the fit and finish is, I don't always thumb screw in. Okay, so there's that guy. Good deal. Okay, so now we need to put our expansion card in here. I'm just kind of testing this out to see if I want to put it here. It's going to sit right up against that. And yeah, we're going to have cabling issues. So, better off to go here. And then if we do another one later on down the road, we can use this one there. And then that way we won't be blocking the fans on that, because they do run in the current system. So with this system, they're still going to run. So. There we go. All right. Now this card does have some LED headers, so if you want hard drive activity on these. We also have hard drive activity on the backplane, so we don't have to worry about it on there. So, which is a bonus. Okay. And I can see now that we have blind access to our backplane. So our backplane's actually going to have to come out, so for us to be able to run the cable up there for it. So we'll worry about that later. All right. Okay, well, perfect. Well, that's it for now, for this video anyways. So that's the board and all the cards and everything already pre-installed. So next video, we'll actually go through and we're going to get the power supply put in and we're going to get it cabled. So stay tuned. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.